Hello and welcome back to my channel for this series of Come Alive with Ashley, which is all about coming alive in your body and in your life. So many of us, including myself in the past, have, and I might even still dip back there at times, but I can release those shackles quickly, is we get stuck in toxic seriousness from experiencing our life from only our mind's perspective. And that shows up as physical manifestations in the body. You may recognize this as overthinking, self-doubt, overanalyzing. Those things can show up in the body as back pain. They can show up in shoulder pain. It can show up in the hips. It can show up in the... So there's not like one place it all goes, but it's tension. So if you have tension in the mind, you're going to have tension in the body over time. That tension, that dis-ease can turn into disease. It can turn into chronic pain. So I am here to help you shake the ground up of that seriousness, that toxic seriousness, really create a stable foundation for yourself and your body, breaking those chains that have you locked up. So really being able to release the energy that's behind these toxic thought patterns, and then these toxic patterns that are showing up in the body as pain, as dis-ease, and really create movement forward for your body and your life. So I have spent tons of time working with the body. My background is in health and exercise science. I spent a lot of time in the exercise physiology world. I've spent a lot of time in the public health and behavior change world. So I am coming to you with a vast perspective and a holistic perspective because I also spend a lot of time in the personal development and spiritual world. So there's all points of view that are coming into this holistic perspective for you. So last week, and if you've been on my channel for a while, you've likely heard me say that your experience is happening in and through your body. And with that, when you can't keep anything secret from your body. So no matter how much you try to rationalize or think yourself out of an experience, if you are trying to control or repress the emotion of it because you just don't want to feel it, it feels too uncomfortable, then, or it doesn't feel safe to, then that's going to start building an energy within the body, because emotion is energy in motion. When you stop that motion, it gets stuck. And then we start experiencing that feeling of stuckness in our life and in our body. So it's like, where are we holding these emotions? How are they showing up in our postures? How are they showing up in tension? So tension is how the body holds trauma. And you may not recognize an experience you've had as trauma unless it was something really big that happened to you. Like for me, I've been in multiple car accidents. That's a big trauma. There are some smaller traumas or more invisible traumas of, our childhood, and examples for me of like being told I talk too much. And so that was showing up, and anytime I would go to speak, I had all this fear and contraction, and I just wouldn't do it as much as I maybe wanted to. So where it can be invisible is where we're shut down in our expression, our true authentic expression. I fucking love talking. That's why I talk too much. So that's just a way that it can show up. With any trauma, you can recognize where you've worked on it, like you've done healing around a trauma. But if we've done healing work around a trauma and we've done it all from the rational mind, so say you only spent time in therapy, and this is not to knock therapy, but didn't engage the body. Maybe you engaged the body in exercise or sports or whatever. But if those two pieces, the mental and the physical, weren't connected in the healing process, that neurological pattern of the wound injury that you were working on, whether it was emotional injury, physical injury, whatever, it's going to be unfinished in the body. And that's when, it gets really fun to peel back layers of our experience and how it's showing up. So I talked about the back last week. I talked about the hips. The back is indicative of support or lack thereof. The hips are indicative of moving forward or fearing moving forward. And so and I'm going to bring in the shoulders today, and everything is connected. Okay. So it's not like the injury happened here, whether physical, emotional, and it doesn't touch anything else. It's only here. That's not true. When an injury happens, it's connected to everything. You're a whole being, a whole person, and your whole physical body experiences it, whether you'd like to believe that or not. It does. So an area of your body doesn't get injured alone. And I think for a long time we've been led to believe that's how the body works. And especially so if we don't pay attention to the communication of the body or don't know how to translate it. And that's another thing that I'm really good at, is helping you translate the stories that are showing up for you, where it's showing up in the body, how to release that energetically, because it's usually not only in the physical body that we're holding an experience, it shows up in our mental body, our emotional body, our energetic body, our spiritual body. They're all part of the connection. They're all part of you. So, but we get so focused on our physical experience. So bringing the shoulders into this is, do we carry loads? So you can think of challenges heavy, or do we carry them light within our being? And instead of having this pendulum swing, which is usually very extreme between being flexible and inflexible, or movement forward or movement, staying stuck in the past, or just staying stuck where you are, or this idea of heavy load or light load, is usually pretty extreme. What we want to do is bring that pathway, or bring that pendulum swing more to like a sweet spot. And so then the pendulum just swings not so far. It's not so extreme within our experience. That's like one of the goals in living a more happy and successful life. So when we can notice these patterns, then we can more easily navigate them. When we notice and are aware of our stories, we can more easily navigate them. An example of that is when we feel fear, or when you feel fear, a lot of times you'll crunch your shoulders up to your ears. You'll just hold. A lot of people live like this, actually, especially if you work at a desk. That pattern just gets ingrained over time. This just feels terrible holding this for a few seconds. Like, I don't even want to. It feels so yuck. Like, my body's like, no, don't do that. And a lot of people's bodies aren't in that, because I don't live in that expression. I don't live in that pattern. That's why I can notice it so quick. And my body is like screaming at me, no, don't do this. Well, a lot of people, since they live there, and you may be one of them, which is why you're listening, you don't notice it at all, because your body may be talking, but you don't hear it, because that's like a norm for you, and it's an unhealthy norm. So when we're in this position that actually compresses our spine and our neck, it closes off our breathing. It also, when we close off our breathing or close oxygen from getting to different areas of our body, that causes pain because the tissues aren't getting oxygen. So we're closing off our breathing. We're not breathing into our back. We're not breathing into our obliques. There's like different areas where breath goes. And when you're keeping it really shallow, that's when you can end up with issues of pain. So like these things are so easy to correct, which is why I think society, or even yourself included, maybe doesn't recognize them as important or good enough, or it's like, oh, I know I should do that, I'm just not doing it. Oh, I forgot about that type of thing. So I encourage you to recognize how much time you spend in certain postures like this, especially looking down at a phone. And if you know that you spend a majority of your day like that, and that gives you a very narrow focus, and that when you are in that position, of course it's going to make any challenge feel very heavy on your shoulders. Of course it's going to make you feel unsupported because you're not supporting yourself through your body and through your movement and through your expression. So mind your energy, and you can mind it in the simplest ways by being aware of your patterns, being aware of your thoughts. You have to slow down enough to do that. You have to want to love yourself in that way. You have to want to understand yourself in that way and understand the communication of your body and work with it versus against it, or being in a fight with it. Like, I can't figure this out. I don't know what this is. I don't know why my body breaks down. Yeah, you do if you take some time to look at it. If you take responsibility for it, that is a huge thing that when we're in a huge pendulum swing between one or the other, not both, because here we're more in, it can be both and it can be all in one day, and that's perfect. But when we're in this black and white, one or the other, then we get lost and things get lost in translation. So the more that you can slow down and give to yourself these different points of attraction around awareness, around changing your position, changing your posture, changing your breathing pattern, all these patterns, then you can start experiencing something completely new and different because your physiology, so just changing the position of your posture changes your physiology changes your psychology, and vice versa. It's all connected. If you change your thoughts, you can change your physiology. It's just usually a little harder to change the thoughts, especially when we're in a very fearful place. That's why all of this, like, I'm giving you kind of the broad picture perspective of how all these pieces and parts work together. But to actually heal and release this energy from your body, you have to, there's a process to that. There's a way in which to do that that's safe and isn't going to cause what I'm going to call right now just re-traumatizing you in your experience, because you don't want that. So if you would like to take a deeper dive, I invite you to sign up for my 3-week mini course all about reigniting your energy, where we create safety and support within the body so we can release these energies that are stuck within the body, these emotions that are stuck within the body, and you can really gain awareness and understanding around what's going on, and create a plan for moving forward that will help you thrive and experience a life more joyfully, even through your challenges. So the link is in my bio for that. Go check it out. If this video has spoken to you at all, then I really think you need to be there. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me by DM. I will talk to you next week. Bye.